All the King's Men by Robert Penn Warren takes place in 1936 and is narrated by Jack Burton, who works for the boss, or Willie Stark, the governor. Sadie Burke also works for Willie as his secretary, along with Sugar Boy O'Sheehan, his driver, and Tiny Duffy, his lieutenant governor. Willie started off as a poor country boy, but at the time when he and Jack first met in 1922, Jack was a reporter and Willie was the county treasurer of Mason County. Willie is celebrated for fighting the county corruption after children die in an accident at the school caused by faulty building. Other politicians convince Willie to run for governor, and he agrees without knowing that he is a pawn being used to fix the race for someone else. After discovering this, he gets drunk for the first time, which allows him to become a powerful speechmaker. After his loss, he runs for governor again in the next election, which he wins. He then hires Jack to work for him. Meanwhile, Jack remembers a visit to his mother 3 years earlier. She treats Jack strangely and has a long history with men and is very wealthy. Afterwards, Jack returns to the capital and Willie tells him that he wants to build a hospital that is free to the public. We also learn that Willie has been having an affair with Sadie Burke, his secretary. 3 years later, Willie and his wife Lucy are separated but still married. The novel jumps from the 1930s back to pre-Civil War times when Jack reads papers written by his great-uncle, Cass Mastern, while working on his Ph.D. in history. Jack learns that Cass owned a plantation and had an affair with a woman named Annabelle, the wife of his best friend Duncan. When Duncan finds out, he commits suicide. After the funeral, Annabelle sells her slave Phoebe into sex slavery. When Cass finds out, he tries to find her to set her free. Though unsuccessful, Cass frees all of his own slaves. He dreams of abolition, but he dies before he can see it happen. After Jack learns about his great-uncle, he is so upset that he quits his Ph.D. program. He then tells the story of when he tried to find dirt on Judge Irwin for Willie. He discovers that the judge took a bribe that drove someone to commit suicide. Governor Stanton and his kids, Adam, Jack's best friend, and Anne, Jack's girlfriend, are also involved. Willie asks Jack to convince Adam to be the director of the hospital, but Adam hates Willie. Anne also begs Jack to convince Adam to accept the offer, so Jack turns to blackmail and threatens to reveal his knowledge of the crime involving Judge Irwin. Jack hopes that Adam will see that Willie is no more corrupt than they are. Jack tells Anne the truth about Irwin, and she takes it hard. She tells Adam about it, which causes him to accept the offer. Jack learns that Anne and Willie are having an affair. Jack flashes back to his childhood with the Stantons and drives to California to his childhood home. He remembers falling in love with Anne, his first marriage, and his subsequent divorce. When he goes back to Mason County, he develops a philosophy called the Great Twitch, which means his entire life is just an impulse and nothing matters. This new philosophy helps him cope with the problems in his life. When he gets back, he discovers that Willie's son, Tom, may have gotten a girl pregnant. Willie is being blackmailed with this information, so he will give Gummy Larson the hospital contract. Willie wants Judge Irwin to tell the blackmailer to leave him alone, so he sends Jack to blackmail Irwin into stopping Gummy from blackmailing him. Instead of stopping Gummy, Judge Irwin commits suicide. Jack learns that Irwin was his biological father. Willie gives the contract to Gummy. Tom then gets in an accident that renders him permanently brain dead. Willie takes the contract back, so Gummy begins to pressure Willie via Adam Stanton. Gummy tells Adam that Willie is sleeping with Anne, which is the only reason that Adam was asked to be the director, so Adam shoots Willie. Sugar Boy, Willie's driver, then shoots Adam dead. After Willie dies from his injuries, Tom dies as well. Following this tragedy, Jack and Anne get married. They live with his father because he is sick, but knowing the truth about his past comforts Jack. The novel comes to a close with Jack telling us that he is going to write a book about Cass, and he leaves town with Anne.